I'm not going to say all of Twitch talk is toxic, because it's not. There's definitely a lot of good people, good content creators spreading positive vibes and stuff like that. And I've had great feedback doing the things that I do, like giving away free assets and stuff like that. And everyone's been extremely pleasant, and everyone's been extremely grateful for what I can give to them and stuff like that. So now that I got that out of the way, there's also a shit ton of toxicity on that platform for sure. Well, anyway, let's get started. Welcome everyone to the What's Kraken Podcast Ep.5, featuring Hawtnyss, aka Shauna. At the beginning of every one of my podcasts, I like to do a little introduction to my guest. So, who is Hawtnyss? Who is Shauna?
So, like me as a person, I have been in leadership in a field that doesn't matter whatsoever, really, irrigation. So, like, I'm good at making other people's grass green, kind of, I guess. But
there's a grass is greener on the other side joke in there somewhere, but we'll move on.
Totally 100%. No, like there's actually, I'm building up to that for a reason. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I ruined it. My bad.
No, you're good. It's good. Back in 2008, I was actually playing Warcraft, one of the things that you and I have bonded over in the past. And I was a priest healer.
Okay.
And I was getting done with a dungeon and my numbers were completely not good. And so I decided that I needed to become a druid, because that was what was at the top of the meters.
Right.
I wanted her to be called Hawtnyss for the hots, the heals over time.
Gotcha.
And the server, I couldn't get that name. And so I just kept going until I ended up landing on this spelling for a character that I was mad about one day. And it became kind of like a vision of who I want to be, not the vision of like who I am, but like always who I want to be, person who is always able to help someone and be there for them. So while like my community or like my name was built off of healing, like in Warcraft, like I think about it now with me being a candid life coach, I think of it more like now Hawtnyss gets to heal her community over time. So in saying that, like when it comes down to it, I'm not that good of a person. Like there's like things I've messed up a lot in my past. There's a reason why it says candid life coach, because I can be kind of harsh if people don't know that I'm coming from the right like standpoint.
Right.
So when it comes down to it, like, Hawtnyss is who I want to be. And Shauna Craig is like the person that people get to joke and have fun with, because that's kind of like who I am. But
gotcha.
Yeah, that's the kind of the lore behind the name.
The lore. I like it. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. And me.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, because I'm a fellow Warcraft nerd. Thoughts on the game in its current state right now? I
couldn't play it, and I could not enjoy it.
Same.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same position. I tried to play the new expansion. I'm over it. Canceled my subscription yesterday, actually. So
yeah, I tried and and it just it was so bad. It was the same thing that we've had every time, just different colors. And they weren't better colors.
It's sharper, it looks better, it looks beautiful, blah, blah, blah. But the game has gotten progressively more boring.
Yeah, I agree.
Tim says that's much better than where my name came from. Tim, listen, you had your chance last week. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so who? So you describe. I like that, the difference between Hawtnyss and Shauna. Shauna's like your playful, your character
also
that
my
is
business side, like my realist, my IRL, more realist.
So do you consider
Hawtnyss is optimist, I think.
right. So for those of you who do not know, I am a part of the Hot Streamers, which is Shauna's Hawtness's Twitch team. So do you consider like Hawtnyss to be like the more brutal leader of that Twitch team than Shauna is?
Yeah, I mean, I try and lead everything with Hawtnyss in most cases, unless I have to, become more who I am trained to be, because I don't like being necessarily that person most of the time. I've worked really hard to try and become a better person. I like to say I wake up and choose to be good. I don't naturally wake up good. So
everyone has that decision in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, I think that Hawtnyss is the one that's trying to lead the team or help lead the team. We just actually announced this morning that we're switching to a board of directors. So we now have 5 people that are going to be making the decisions moving forward. So that'll be really fun to have a group of people making decisions rather than just one. So that'll be fun.
I like that. I like the way you kind of broke that down, because I think that's, kind of relative with every content creator. You know what I mean? There's like, I have Matt Kraken and I also have like Matt McCracken. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of content creators kind of deal with that, where their brand lies with their own personal, in real life persona, I guess you can say. Personas have been an interesting topic lately. I've seen a lot of people talking about personas on TikTok and stuff like that. So it's interesting that you described it that way, because I think I felt that way, but I didn't really know until you actually described it that way. And I'm sure there's a lot of other content creators, who feel the same way.
When it comes down to it, like if I could choose to be this person, like that person at all times, like that's what I would choose. More than anything at the end of the day, because that's like who I have for years tried to get to be. It's not, a slow process, but I'm more, I guess, willing to accept the fact that, I'm going to mess up, and so
at least you accept it. There's a lot of people out there that won't accept it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And, with me being a candid life coach, I try and like own the things that I mess up on. I know I'm not perfect. I know that I'm not going to see all the sides of the coin. So that was the reason why we actually switched over with the team, because I don't want to be the person that looks like they're trying to decide for the group.
Right.
One way or another. I would like it to be a group effort, because the team isn't about me. It's about like the group.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always thought of it, at least. So
definitely. No, I dig that. I dig it. I'm excited. I know I told you I haven't really been, content creation has kind of been, unfortunately, kind of how it was for me in the beginning, where I'm doing it more for myself and more for fun right now with wedding planning and getting back into my normal day job. Which I love. I love my job. I went back to work last week, and I'm a photographer and I work at a photography studio, and it felt good to be back into work. You know what I mean? It was the last job I had before COVID and all that stuff. So, I think it's, I don't even know where I was going with that, but, anyway, let's move on to, your content creation goals. So, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I have a big dream that is one of those things that eventually I will help remove toxicity from content creation in general. That's like my long-term goal.
Right.
I have jokes about it, being something that I do in the future as a actual program. But for now, it's with the stream team, and through my own channel as well. I feel like my channel is more for getting people to understand that mindsets matter and that awareness matters and understanding feelings matter. But ultimately, like the team itself, like the group of creators that I and my scouts have put together are people that are really about not having that toxicity and having good morals and beliefs and wanting to kind of take the content creation into the next level, not just Twitch streamers, but like actual content creation into what the future looks like, especially with how children this day and age don't even know what cable is, really care about the fact that there's,
right.
Netflix
or
like they've moved past that. They only want content creation.
Exactly.
They want instant gratification. And so I see what we're doing now as the future. So I would be silly to think that I know what 5 years looks like. I would say for the next year, I would say that we're going to continue to push the limits and show the Twitch community what, being good members of the community look like,
Definitely.
Past that, I think that if it was my choice, it would be one of those moments where you look back at Alpha Gaming before everything blew up and you go, yeah, that's where I want to be. That's the type of stuff that I want to do. So,
right.
I think that if you asked Heller 2 years ago where he was going to be, I don't think that like he would have known where he could be. So
I think the biggest shock for him would have been something like Stream Beats or something. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. You don't know where you're going to go. And so, I say for the next year, I will be very content just helping emulate what we need in the community.
Gotcha.
That's my goal.
Real quick. Thank you for the follow. It's Murky. I appreciate you. Anyway, I think it's interesting. You said you want to remove the toxicity from Twitch. And that's something I've been thinking about.
In general.
Yeah. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Question for you. Are you on TikTok?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, as much as one can be on TikTok.
Right. Okay. Like as much as a content creator could be on TikTok.
I've only done it a few times.
Right. I had this conversation of topic of conversation with Noah a couple weeks ago on the podcast about how there's a lot of what's cracking. There's a lot of people on TikTok saying if you want to grow on TikTok, you got to post 2 to 6 times a day. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, that's a little bit different for people who are creating content on other platforms and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I totally get that. But anyway, I think that
my daughter would agree with you on the whole 4 to 6 times a day for TikTok.
Yeah, well, if you want to grow on TikTok for sure, then post 2 to 6 times a day, definitely. But yeah, no, that's. So when I got on TikTok, okay, so like I thought there was, a minor amount of toxicity on Twitch and blah, blah, blah. And then I joined TikTok and Twitch Talk and stuff like that. And then I think what TikTok is, it's a glimpse of all the creators that are on Twitch. You know what I mean? It gives a variety. There's a lot of, I'm not going to say all of Twitch Talk is toxic because it's not. There's definitely a lot of good people, good content creators spreading positive vibes and stuff like that. And I've had great feedback doing the things that I do, like giving away free assets and stuff like that. And everyone's been extremely pleasant, and everyone's been extremely grateful for what I can give to them and stuff like that. So now that I got that out of the way, there's also a shit ton of toxicity on that platform for sure. And where do you think that comes from? How do you think that happens? Because when I look amongst YouTubers, right now, I make YouTube videos, but I'm not as heavy into the YouTube community as I am into the Twitch community, and I think it's a little bit different of a community. As not everyone goes live, so you don't get that gratification of speaking with somebody right away on YouTube. Maybe you chat in the comments a little bit, but I think the Twitch community and the live streaming community is a little bit different than like the YouTube community that just posts videos every now and then. So what are your thoughts on like kind of where that toxicity comes from?
I mean, the toxicity comes from the fact that there's no accountability on the internet. I mean, that's just what it's going to come down to. So
it's a bigger picture kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion, we're not doing anything as a society in general to fix the problem. So there needs to be some sort of fix that is more like finite.
Right.
I don't think it's more toxic in one place versus another. I think that there's some places that are safer than others. So like, if you go into say like the teams streams, most all of those people are all toxic free, drama free.
Correct,
you know, if you cause problems in that channel, you'll just be removed because they are so over the top about being non-toxic. But then you can go to other people's channels that all that they are doing is toxicity. Sometimes they even claim claim that they're great and then have toxicity. So it's
true. I've seen that.
You can go both ways on all of it. So it's a hard balance
for sure.
But it's all out there, and so it's what you choose to associate with. But I think that there's ultimately something that we as content creators need to try and push for, and that's what I'm trying to do with the team, is trying to at least start emulating, hey, this is what good foundation for what streamers should look like. We shouldn't be toxic. We shouldn't allow toxicity. We should allow inclusivity. We should do the things that continue to push and try and innovate and do things that one day, people will look back on and say, oh, look what they did. And they created this safe place for all of us to grow even more. And I think that that's important for especially new content creators to have that place. But all of us growing and, even, hitting partner and all of the fun stuff that comes with that. So
definitely,
I think that toxicity is something that slows down everyone's growth at one point or another. And most of the time it's not for good cause.
Yeah. This is a very interesting topic. I want to talk more about this, but I also want to get to the whole topic of what we mainly came here today, which was networking.
Yep.
But it's interesting because the reason I asked you that is because I don't think, so I've been surrounded by toxicity my whole life. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think everyone deals with it differently. And it's interesting. The reason I ask you that is because I think about it all the time, and I ask myself this. I'm constantly asking myself, like, why this, why that? I'm like a 3-year-old, why, you know what I mean? But
no, totally.
And I never really thought of it that way. As it's a bigger picture. People aren't held accountable for what they do on the internet, and I get that. But I've also
Twitch. You can make it like you do something wrong, you just make a new account. Like.
That's true, huh? Yeah, I don't. It's funny because I've never really thought of it that way. You know what I mean? I've never been someone to dwell on toxicity. I think is the thing, and I know a lot of other people have different opinions on that. I don't know. I've never really put that much thought into it. So I appreciate you, telling me or educating a little bit more. And it might be different, person to person. Me being male, you being female. I don't know. I mean, that could be a whole nother topic as well. I know that I see a lot of female TikTokers giving their perspective, and I know that they get a lot of toxicity a lot, and I feel bad for that, and that's not the way it should be. You know what I mean? But I don't know what it's like to be anyone else but myself. And I will always say that,
no, I
you
get
know what
that.
I mean? I think a lot of people have opinions on what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes. You know what I mean? And I think that's not fair. I'm never going to put myself in somebody else's shoes. I could pretend, you know what I mean? But, I'll listen to people's, people's sides of things and take it for, take their word for it, but I'll never truly know what it's like to be a female gamer in what a lot of people would call a male's world. You know what I mean? And that's not fair. I don't think that's fair. That one jackass that came out on TikTok and said some stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like, you're totally right about that. Because what happened to that guy? Was he completely banished from Twitch? Or did he gain more fans because of it? You know what I mean? Do you know what guy I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so
no, but
some guy,
I can only imagine what the answer would be to your question.
Right. What do you think? What do you think is the answer to that question?
He would gain the followers that he would want, right? The style of followers that he would want.
Unfortunately, that's very true. Unfortunately,
it's just like followed, Dr. Disrespect, right? So, people are going to follow what they want to follow, and that's fine. Like, people can follow what they want to follow as long as, in my opinion, there's a clear understanding of who it is that you're what you're walking into, which I feel like we don't have right now, especially as, Twitch. If you watch a television show or start something on Netflix, it has a warning. This is what you're going to expect, and this is what you should understand going into this. Mm-hmm. And we don't have that going into content with live streamers right now. And I think that that's something that's probably lacking, personally. That's a personal opinion. And that's just because people should have those warnings. People should know that this is a toxic situation, and to choose that yourself, Right. But that's just other ways that people should have kind of like a fair chance to like shelter themselves, in my opinion, I guess.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. There's ratings on video games, there's ratings on movies, and I know on Twitch, if you go to my stream, I have an 18 and older thing on, you know what I mean? Because I cuss, it's what I do. I don't know how you feel about it on your stream, but I like to cater to a more mature age group, if you will. And that's really it. And you could read my About Me section, but there's not a whole lot of disclaimers. But there's a fine line, you know what I mean? Because I appreciate the internet for what it is. And I don't, there's part of me that says, leave the internet alone. It shouldn't be regulated by anyone. It's the internet. That's the way it's always been. But then there's a line, I think. And then where has it gone too far? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Once again, this is another very interesting topic that we could go on and on and on about.
Yeah, for sure. If you want me to turn back to the networking side of things, when it comes down to it, I think that all of this, the toxicity, all of that stuff it should play into your networking and understanding how all of that actually plays out, because if you had all of those other things figured out, if there was some meter out there that told you these people are this way and these people are this way, then it would be so much easier to actually network. And so that's where, when I started doing what I was doing back, almost a year ago now, I just started meeting people and classifying who they are and creating my own internal memory database of everybody. And as I continued going, I just started helping people connect to other people that were like-minded. And so the more I did that, the kind of further down the rabbit hole I got, if you will. And and what that allowed me to do is so many. Okay, so this is gonna open up a whole new thing that you're probably
a whole new topic. It could be a whole other topic of podcast.
But the algorithm actually works with Twitch that no one really pays attention to. And people say that that's not a thing, but I
appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people say Twitch doesn't have an algorithm, and they do.
Yeah, they do.
It's not great, but they do.
I mean, if you go to my account and you look at my account is catered to exactly what our team is. 100%. Like, you can find more like-minded people identical to the type of mindset that the team is. So the more that you interact with people, the more that you are integrated into the Twitch system, the more the Twitch works. If you go right now and you created 2 different accounts, and you created one account and you followed only large streamers, and you took another account and you followed only small streamers of like-minded qualities, you would start getting recommended streamers of those like-minded.
Very true.
On both accounts. So, and you can sit there and test it all day long. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So that's how I've been able to slowly find amazing content creators over the past year to be able to add into the team. And I think that networking that I did it early on was what allowed me to have such a good, solid starting base. And I think that there's a lot of people, when you get into a community that you really love, and you're a part of the community first and then decide to start streaming, you have a better opportunity, because people want to be a part of it and be a part of your growth and your affiliate. They want to be there for it. Whereas if you start the other way, you just start as a streamer and you just stream 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and you have no one that you have there. It's a lot better investment to put those 4, 6 hours, put 2 hours into streaming and take the other 4 hours and put it into networking, because the more connections you have with people, the more they want to be there to support you. And so it's like a give and take, it's a relationship of learning who the people are that you're communicating with, not just, and
I think, and I think that's the biggest downfall for I mentioned this before. The biggest downfall for people quitting streaming is they're not finding their audience. If you can't find your audience, you're not branding yourself correctly. You're not putting yourself out there the right way. And that's the hardest thing. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to figure out the best way to reach my audience. You know what I mean?
Tags and brands trying to.
What's that?
Tags and brands matter.
Oh, for sure. You know what I'm really upset about is that I know there's a place where you can put tags, request tags to Twitch, but they don't have some very obvious tags, like podcasts. They don't have a tag for that. And they don't have I would like a tag for like Adobe photography, simple stuff. You know what I mean?
At least they added like a bunch in the last couple of months.
They did, yeah. And I know
that was nice.
And that's where I found out that you can request them. I need to do that because there's just
I didn't know you could request either.
Yeah, I don't remember where. When I find out, I'll let you know. But
yeah, I would like to know.
Yeah, but definitely, you brought up a really good point too about Twitch's algorithm. It's not the best of algorithms, but there is an algorithm in place. You know what I mean? Usually, when people come to my stream, I like to ask them, "Hey, how'd you find the channel?" Every once in a while, I'll get somebody that you were on my recommended feed. And I say, oh, okay. You must watch Harris. You must watch Sam. You must watch Nutty. You must watch any other creative Gale level. Because whenever somebody finds me on recommended, it's because they watch like one of those 5 or 6 different creators. Scott, Tim, anyone in the content clinic and stuff like that. It does work. And I've heard people say that Twitch has no algorithm, which I can understand why they feel that way. But if you're networking with your people and networking with like-minded individuals and networking with the right people that fit in with your style and stuff like that, then you can be discovered on Twitch. It's better to get out there on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram and, YouTube to make yourself more discoverable. But it's.
You can be discoverable. I agree. Especially if you like, everything has a weight to it when it comes down to it. So the more you have people that are going into other, like you said, going into other communities and into your own community. And so you start to get yourself recognized. Once you start getting that happening, getting hosts was the thing that got me on the recommended substantially. Once I started getting, 10 plus hosts, I could get anywhere from 3 to 10 recommended in a day.
Right.
That's a pretty good number to start, starting out with. Just in my I think I average like close to 17 or 18, I think 18, 19, somewhere in there. So like to get 10 recommended in one day, that's a big number in my opinion. So
for sure. Yeah.
Learning what weight or what helps the algorithm and what doesn't is very helpful to being able to network too. So all of this is like something that like all comes back into helping the growth of your channel, not just your ability to network.
Right.
So
definitely. So we definitely hit some very interesting topics, but let's move on to networking and collaborating here. So if there was any general tips you can give to people about networking and collaborating, what do you think those would be?
Only do what actually, okay. So what I see so much is when people start collaborating, they start going away from what they do and they want to hang out with people they know. Not necessarily the same type of content that they're doing. So when people start networking, they need to make sure that they're sticking to like their content, right? Like the brand is so important. Your brand is so important. And I don't understand why like so many people will be like, okay, I'm a Dead by Daylight streamer. Let's just throw it out there. And then they meet someone that's a Turk-off streamer and all of a sudden they're playing Turk-off all the time. It is a weird thing. So collaborations have to be thoughtful and like actually planned out. Yeah. And not just something that people are doing because they want to do something new on their stream, because a lot of people are just like, I need to change things up. Let's change everything up today. And so I think it's really important to remember what you're about, not what everyone else wants you to be about, I guess is the best way I would say when it comes to all of that.
Yeah. And you said it's important for your brand, but it's also important as an individual to vibe with somebody. I hate that word vibe.
You hate the word vibe. Wow.
I don't hate the word. I don't hate the meaning of vibe. I feel like vibe has just become an overused word by, I hear it everywhere now. You don't vibe, man. And I used to say vibe all the time. You know what I mean? And yeah, I know it's showing my age a little bit, but
oh my gosh.
It's what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? It's like maybe this is just like the millennial boomer in me, but like it's becoming overused.
I'm pretty sure I'm older than you.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
What year were you born? We'll make chat do math.
85.
Oh, okay, you are. Okay. I was born in 89. Okay. Chat can do the math. But yeah, no.
I blow people's minds all the time.
I used to use the word vibe all the time and I loved it, but I think it's okay. So here's another thing that's kind of lost its value for me is the word entrepreneur, because
I could see that.
Everybody, okay, first of all, yeah, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but everyone started calling themselves entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? And modeling. Everyone's a model. No, okay, here's the thing. You're not a model. You're not an entrepreneur. Like, you have hopes of being these things. You know what I mean? but I think there's a fine line of, and I try to not be, I guess, toxic when I say stuff like that, but we got to be careful with how we're using or overusing some certain words. You know what I mean? And vibe is slowly creeping up on that list for me.
Apparently next to model and
entrepreneur. Well, it's whole of chat feels attacked. I know. Okay, so like model for me, because I've been a photographer for like 10 years now, right? So I would often get a lot of people hitting me up and saying, "Hey, I'm a model." When I used to advertise my photography stuff, "Hey, I'm a model. Can you do a photo shoot for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure. These are my rates, blah, blah, blah." "You don't understand. I'm a model. Like, like I should be paying you," kind of thing. And they're like, "Yes." And I'm like, no. That's not the way it works. Hi, Mandy. How you doing? But yeah, so I think that's why that word kind of got a little bit overused for me.
I could see it.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we kind of got off topic a little bit there.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I do appreciate what you said there. It's important who you're networking with. You know, I think you have to vibe. This is where it all came from. You have to vibe with them for your brand, and you have to vibe with them from your own individual satisfaction, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's like when it comes down to it, if you don't vibe with your brand, then your channel's never going to take off, right? So if you're not true to your brand and able to like really hold on to your brand and know it and love it, then how can you collab with someone else and expect it to work? So I think it's really important to know yourself and know your brand before you start going off and collabing with other people.
This is true. Yeah. No, that's a good point too. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, and I think there's a difference between like truly networking with somebody or just being friendly with somebody and getting to I think there's a fine line between the two, but definitely be friendly to other streamers, you know, whether they're in your niche or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think networking, and when I say networking, I mean like I've collaborated with different artists on stuff, which reminds me, I'm working on a project with Deadweight Design. I'm totally slacking Kraken on it right now, but finding other fellow designers, if you're a designer, to collab with, kind of thing. This is the whole reason I do the podcast, is to network with other like-minded streamers, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So once again, kind of rambled on there, but no, any other tips you wanted to throw in there?
Like I have, this is actually, so I couldn't figure out how I was going to stream and what I was going to stream for the longest period of time. I kept playing Apex during the like night shift, I call it,
right,
when everybody's on.
Yeah.
And I hated it because I couldn't see my friends and I couldn't support them and I couldn't go and do things. So for the longest time, I was like in this like really bad conundrum, and like I would go live half the time and not really enjoy it because I'd really want to be somewhere else.
Right.
So that's when I created Hot Coffee. And so Hot Coffee was okay. Almost nobody streams first thing in the morning. And so then my friends can come and hang out and they can get to know each other because all of my friends are super awesome and I love them and I want them to all, become friends and help each other in the growth and, each other's growth and everything. And so I decided to create that morning time so that people can do that with each other. Right. And that was kind of one of the things that's why it's not about me gaming on my channel. It's about everybody else interacting and then me just talking to everybody, because then I have the opportunity to be like, oh, hey, you and you should be friends,
yeah.
and play games together right now. Hi, and I awkwardly do that the entire morning. So,
What's that Will Smith movie where he sets people up? You're like,
Hitch?
Yeah, you're like the Hitch of Twitch.
Hitch of Twitch.
You're like the Hitch of Twitch.
That's, yeah.
You heard it here first. You could take that if you want.
Boy.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Speaking of Will Smith, does he say that, Rompin? Does he say that in the movie? Or do you say that?
I mean,
I know Paris Hilton says that.
I mean, I have my emotes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Boom. So moving on to a next little topic here. Where do you like to network? I mean, do you just network on Twitch? Do you use other platforms for networking? Do you use your Discord as networking?
I mean, my Discord's my home. So if we all have learned anything from at least the Content Clinic and Alpha Gaming and all of them, is that we make sure that we have everybody on every other platform rather than all on one, right? So if anything happens, we're protected. So like, I think of Discord as kind of like home base where everybody can hang out throughout the day. And then I feel like I get a lot of random followers from Twitter. I think that's just maybe because I'm opinionated and people enjoy my opinionatedness.
Right.
But when it comes down to like pulling people in, I actually get a lot of daily viewers. So I can get anywhere from like 3 to 10 followers a day if I'm streaming. And so I actually get a lot of viewers that way personally. But like if I'm actually networking, I'm more out to just hit the recommended. Like literally I use the recommended pretty exclusively when it comes to me networking with other people.
Okay.
Because I love it. They do a really good job of it being someone that I've never met and it being from an entirely different group of streamers. And that to me is important because the more as groups we're breaking into other groups of streamers, it just creates that networking web even more, which helps the algorithm, even more. So I try and kind of support that as much as I can.
Definitely. I that's interesting. So you use Twitch to network with Twitch more than anything.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Which is a smart thing to do. Where do you find the time? Because I want to watch. There's so many times where I want to watch, and from time to time, like I jumped into Rompin stream, I jump into your stream. There's so many people. I'm like going through my friends list on Twitch when I'm working or I'm like ready to lurk or something. And it's like, oh, I got to go say what up to this person. I got to go say what's up to this person.
Yeah.
How do you set aside time to find new people on Twitch at all?
So like right now it's Sunday morning, afternoon, and I have 32 people live in this moment. In a nighttime, it's more like 85 to 90.
Right.
It's kind of hard when you start looking at it from that aspect. But have you ever done multi-Twitch?
No, I have not.
So multi-Twitch allows you to watch as many as I think. Like I can do 8 on my horizontal. I can see 8 video players at one time, and then you get one chat, and you can just click back and forth between all the chats.
Okay.
It's very, very easy.
Is that a plugin?
Nope, it's a channel. Multitwitch.com, I think, or .tv, multitwitch.tv. And so what it allows you to do is you can watch everything that's going on. So if you're good enough, I guess, like I can do 6 with volumes turned on, which I've learned that over the course of the last year.
6.
I can listen to 6 people's streams and be able to comment and respond.
I could barely listen to music and work at the same time.
Yeah, it's been a perfected thing that I've learned over time.
I would say so, yeah.
Because my scouts, like they start with the ability to only do 1 or 2, and now I have a few scouts that can do
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5 almost.
Okay. So you also
So
use
it
this
is
for like
perfected.
recruiting purposes and stuff like that, or
100%.
is that always something that's in the back of your mind?
I'm always thinking about recruiting. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Networking is recruiting in my mind in a lot of cases.
Yeah. By the way, she picked a topic. Well, I like to usually ask, if somebody has a strong topic that they'd like to go for, and she said networking right away. I was like, done. Yeah, easy. Mr. Hoshoku, how you doing? What's cracking? So yeah, that kind of covers the where and the how. The how is multitwitch.tv.
Yeah, it's one of the many ways. I also sometimes, so here's the other side of it is I always make sure that I have 2 people on a different browser alert, because I make sure that at least 2 views are always given to 2 people. Because the multi-Twitch doesn't give views, right? And so you can only have 2 views on one browser.
Right.
Unless you start getting really, you have Edge open and you have Chrome open and you have Opera open. I mean, that's pretty dedicated, but I have done that.
Yeah.
But I don't plan on doing it ever again. But as I always try and have 2 people that I'm supporting throughout the day at all times.
Good.
But then I also have multi-Twitch going too.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, so let's talk about TN Mama. How you doing? What's cracking? Let's talk about like lurking etiquette, right? Because it sounds like you lurk a lot. I lurk a lot. And sometimes, most of the time when I'm lurking, I'm busy either like doing design stuff or working on something. Is it proper or improper etiquette? Because I seriously don't know. Do you think it would be like, do you think it's rude to not say you're lurking? Because sometimes I feel bad for like jumping into a channel and just setting it aside. You know what I mean? I'm listening and I'm engaged.
I think I think it's fair, because I think that there is an anxiety around it a lot of times. And depending on the streamer, can have more anxiety. Like for me personally, if I identify myself in the room, everybody wants to have a conversation with me. And so I feel horrible when I go lurk and then everybody wants to talk.
Right.
So I get anxious to even think about talking now. Because I'm just like, I want to be supportive and I want to be here, but I have like all of this other stuff going on. And if I don't get this stuff done, I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z this evening. Sure. And so I feel if I was on the receiving end of the lurk, I would be understanding of that. Like, hey, why didn't you say anything today? I'd be like, got a lot of stuff going on, but I made sure that you got my lurk. Right. I love you. Please don't be mad. You know, like I think that I would be completely content with that. And so that's kind of, I think I kind of do everything as a do unto others as I would have done unto me. So like, that's how I think about it in a lot of cases with pretty much everything I do.
Right.
I think of how I would react to that. And if I'm okay with it, then I'm like, yeah, well,
exactly. Because I'm totally okay with it too. You know what I mean? If I'm sure there's somebody in chat right now who hasn't said, hey, I'm lurking, and totally cool with that. Because the way I look at it is, okay, so here's another interesting topic that can be its own topic. I am a firm believer that we need to need is a strong word. I'm gonna put this in my own context. I feel like as a streamer, I am myself on stream, but I bring a presence of entertainment value that to my stream, if you will. So a lot of people say just be yourself on stream, and I totally agree with that, 100%. But there is there's different levels to this as well, but there needs to be some sort of aspect of you being an entertainer or an educator, you know what I mean? There has to be more than just yourself, right?
I just was talking about this with someone who has like 1 million followers on TikTok, right? And she and I both had this conversation,
right?
Just the other day. And when it comes down to it, oh gosh, I just lost my train of thought. What were we just
It happens
on?
to me all the time. So you're talking to a TikToker about being yourself and how there's a different level.
Being herself.
Yeah.
So she I can't believe I did that. So she was talking about the fact that her eccentricism, she's more eccentric to things. So like she raises up her ability to be eccentric about all of her things, but then like she reduces her anxiety and depression by 10, and so like she adds 10 here and removes 10 here, and she adds 10 here, and she kind of does this balancing act, and it's still her, but she's allowing for herself to kind of, I wouldn't say filtered, but like not as intense in the specific characteristics.
Definitely. No,
that makes sense.
Yeah. And I guess, okay, so here's the thing. If yourself is already naturally an entertainer, you know what I mean, then there's less of that you need to do. But there's definitely a difference between me playing a game on stream, which I rarely do, than playing a game just in my room by myself or with friends. You know what I mean? There's you kind of have to people definitely put on a different vibe, if you will.
Do you want to know something interesting? I'm actually way worse when I'm by myself because I have to tame down how bad I am on cam.
What do you mean?
Because I'm more eccentric.
More eccentric. Okay.
Yeah. I have to tame myself. I actually don't like streaming on stream because of it.
Gaming on stream?
Yeah, I don't like gaming on stream because of it. Yeah, it's bad.
That's okay. I do apologize. If you guys can give me like 2 minutes, I have to do a phone call really quick. So yeah, we're good. We're back. Wedding planning, it's crazy.
Yeah, I could only imagine.
Yeah. Okay, so what we were talking about, the being yourself kind of thing, and you talked to that TikToker, and I think I said it depends on the individual too, as well. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people would probably say, "Oh no, you're totally wrong." When I'm eccentric and I'm over the top all the time, and then you said you kind of dull yourself down when you're gaming.
Yeah. On stream, I do. Yeah, I have to.
You have to.
Yeah. Because I'm, because Hawtnyss is not Shauna, and Shauna is very sailor mouth, very aggressive, very not. I can get really.
I think you should let it all out. I think you should be, as sailory as you can be. I think that entertainment value. No, I'm just kidding.
So I mean. If one day maybe, and I'm not disagreeing that like it's the reason why I don't let my games come into it as much is because over the years, in all honesty, gaming turned into my place where I got away from my traumas. Because if you, I haven't said this, but I say I'm an introvert from trauma, a social butterfly by nature. So I tend to I want to be around people, but I'm scared to be around people because I've gone through so much.
That's fair.
So,
yeah.
It's kind of a way to protect myself. So the more I include my community into that, it also takes it away. So it's something that I'm going to be slowly doing as I continue to heal myself. Because I think that over time and the community, because I've noticed that I've wanted to share parts of that aspect with my community more. So I have a feeling that over time of them showing me and getting me to trust them, that I can also let them become a part of that safe place. And so, yeah.
Cool.
That's kind of how I feel about it, I guess.
So how does one go about obtaining your coaching per se?
Just hanging out in my channel.
Okay.
Or talking to me, DMing me. I have a lot of people, so just a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, I had someone from a totally different community within the hot streamers go, I'm having an anxiety attack. I told the person the streamer that I was hanging out with, they told me to come to you.
Okay.
I don't know who you are or why I'm messaging you, but can you help me? And
Right.
they're now a huge person in my community. Just like they come into Discord every day and they hang out because I helped them through a hard evening. And ever since then, they've just fallen in love with the group of people that are there, because that's what we all want to do, is make sure that people understand that it's okay to not be okay. And we're fine with having to be there for those people, because there's going to be days that I need it too. And so that's, we all have those days. We're never going to assume that anyone is going to wake up and it's always going to be roses and, all
sunshine and lollipops.
Yeah, exactly. It's not glitter farts and unicorns and all that fun stuff. It's just not. So you have to have a support system and a village to be able to support that. And as the world has gotten to not have that anymore, I think it's really important for us to be able to create that within our own communities, a place where people can really feel that support that we used to have when we had that small village type mentality. Yeah,
the world needs it more than ever now, in my opinion.
I agree.
And I respect that, because not a lot of people can be a coach or a support system. I am a firm believer in it's okay for asking for help. I've never, put this in perspective here. I've always been fairly lucky as to not ever have dealt with any sort of trauma or mental what's the word? I've never dealt with the depression or anxiety or any sort of trauma in my life, and I've always considered I don't want to say the word lucky, because I don't want other people to feel like they've been unlucky because of that. You know what I mean? But I've just had a different walk of life than some people. Everyone has a different walk of life, right?
Yep.
As I got older, I realized that there were people out there that have unfortunately dealt with, either terrible upbringings or a traumatic experience, stuff like that. So for the longest time, I was kind of blind to it, and I was kind of uneducated about it. And I still consider myself to be uneducated about it. So as much as I'd like to sit here and say, I consider my stream to be a safe environment for people, but I'm no professional. I don't know if I have the experience or, the know about to help anyone through any sort of issue that they're dealing with. So I definitely appreciate people like that.
So another thing, this is a total different random side note that is kind of a fun thing that we're trying to do as a team, is we actually have resource centers, and the resource centers are actually opened up as an announcement channel. So as the team, if say you're not really good in the mental health aspect, you can go into the mental health resources and subscribe to that channel for you to have within your Discord, so that people have the resource to be able to have it, even though that we're not necessarily, I'm not necessarily really good at IT stuff. So I can go in and pull in the IT resource center into my stream to make it like we have all this extra resources to be able to offer to the community, even though we're not necessarily the people that can do it.
Definitely. I like that.
So total side note, but yeah.
No, side notes are great. Side notes. I like side notes. I should change the name of the podcast to Side Notes. Anyway, back to collaborating and networking. Because my brain my brain goes on these little adventures, right? My friends hate it when I like to think I'm good at storytelling, but sometimes I'll venture off into different avenues, and they're like, "What the hell does this have to do with the story, Matt?" And I'm like, "I'm getting to it. Hold on, but I got to fill you in on this first part in order for the last part to make sense." Yeah. Oh, my camera just died.
Oh, hey, look, he's back.
Sorry, I had to take it off the entire tripod to put the extra battery in.
Oh, that's not fun.
No. I ordered the continuous battery though, so it'll be here by the next stream.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's funny. I bought real quick. Another side note. I for those of you who don't know, I've been a Canon shooter photographer for 12 years now, 10 years now, something like that. And I recently was persuaded. No, I did a lot of research recently on different camera types and stuff like that, or different camera brands. And I was considering shooting either Sony or Fujifilm. And I ended up selling all my Canon gear and buying Fujifilm cameras, 2 of them yesterday.
Right after we got done talking about how we could be friendsies because our cameras were
right. I was like, gang, yeah. No, Canon will always be, my first camera love. And I've had a lot of good times with shooting Canon. But they just haven't impressed me. Nothing's really sparked me, in a long time. So, yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, I use Sony's for my stream. So, I mean. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay. There you go.
Yeah. I just have Canons for all of my actual photography.
Yeah. I mean, Sony's make good cameras. There's no bad cameras these days, unless you're shooting Nikon. No, I'm kidding. It's
totally actually probably pretty accurate.
I've never shot on a Nikon body, so I wouldn't know.
They're just confusing to me, I suppose. I think that's like the difference between Nikon and Canon. They're so different that
right.
Like when you start trying to cross learn, it's just like, I don't like that one. And it's really more just, I learned on this one.
Right. And that's what I'm struggling with Fuji right now. The menu system is so different and it's very intense.
Yeah. And I think that's what it comes down to more than anything is just you've learned on a style of camera. Yeah.
Anyways,
back
another
to
side note.
The topic. Yeah.
We have one more little bullet point here for networking and collaborating. She's like, wonderful. I'm tired of listening to your voice.
Wow. No, I was just like, wonderful. There's another topic.
No, I'm joking. I'm a sarcastic asshole. Okay, here's the thing. Another side note.
I love these.
Here we go. Hawtnyss is like the first streamer I've had on the show that I've never really had a actual conversation with. You know what I mean?
That's true.
No, that's not true. We've had actual conversations.
Not vocal conversations.
Have we not? I don't think we have actually.
We haven't.
Today was our first vocal conversation. And
way we classify things in this world.
Yeah, we've typed, but that's about it. But anyway, so there's I forgot where I was going with this side note. See, I told you I lose my train of thought all the time.
I do too.
Anyway, if I think of it, I'm no Tim, but you can always ask me stuff. I'm using X-T3 for the first time today. X-T3 is a great camera.
Is that a Fuji?
It is. Okay, so yeah, one last bullet point. Oh, I know where I was going with that. I was like, we've never had a vocal conversation, and you don't know me well enough to where you know that I am a very sarcastic person. Me and my group of friends get together, and my fiance thinks we're just a terrible group of people. No, I'm just kidding. Not terrible, but she always like, are you guys actually mad at each other? No, we just make fun of each other all the time because we've been friends for 20 years. And I'm comfortable with, calling them douchebags and comfortable being rude to them because that's just we're just a group of boys and we've never grown up. We're very immature, and we're all sarcastic with each other. So people who know me know that I'm sarcastic. And
I know you're sarcastic. So the problem I have is I don't sense sarcasm well. Unless I can really, really, really get it. So I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
My fiance doesn't either. To the point where I have to tell her when her own family or her own mom and dad or brother are messing with her. I'm like, he's messing with you. You know what I mean? She's like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this your brother. You should know he's messing with you. And
that's pretty much where I'm at too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I have a different, style, with my fiance. There's a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I could have said something there, but I'll be nice. You know what I mean?
Oh boy.
But anyway, not that I'm mean or anything. I mean, no. Anyway,
you called someone a douchebag just randomly, and it sounded pretty nonchalant to you. So I'm pretty sure you're good.
Yeah, no, I mean, is douchebag offensive?
No, I mean not really, but
okay.
I mean in 2021.
Yeah, that's why I gotta ask, because I grew up saying it.
I mean, maybe in 2020 it was fine. Maybe 2021 2022 was probably way off.
Yeah,
by 2022 it's gone.
Progressively every year, I gotta ask myself, and I'm okay with that. If somebody's offended, I won't say it, but at least on purpose. I don't think it's yet. Okay, all right, we can still say douchebag. I'll just change it to DB. Anyway, last bullet point here. Is it okay to not collaborate, or when is it okay to not collaborate? I think is kind of where I was going with that as well.
I think that collaboration is a part of who you are and your brand. So like, I've done it on my stream and I want to continue doing it in the future, bring back that specific style series. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that it's required for anyone to do something. I think that it could help you. I don't think that it could harm you. Especially when you're getting into other communities and the communities are supportive of each other.
Right.
I think it's super beneficial when you get into a really good community, when you get into like good RP communities, and there's a bunch of streamers, they're all wanting to help boost that community specifically. They're going to constantly be trying to help each other out. So right. I think that there's an aspect of it that people should see as a benefit if done correctly. Right. But I don't think that people should do it because of the fact that they want the benefit. They need to do it because they have friends, and there's a benefit to having friends and networking. Yeah. If that makes sense,
And I think we touched a little bit on that earlier, is like, it's okay to not collaborate if you're trying to figure out your niche, because it's also very important to collaborate with your niche, right? So I'm all for the streamer supporting streamers, right? But I'm not a part of the whole follow for follow gang, and what's the word? What are they? I don't know what they call themselves. There's a lot of it on TikTok. The drop your link gang. So I'll support streamers supporting streamers, but realistically, you know what I mean? And I think there's a fine line there. So niche, or if you're still trying to figure out your niche, it's okay to not collaborate yet. If you're like, I don't know even what game I'm going to play on stream yet. You know what I mean? When I first started streaming, I played Call of Duty Warzone. You know what I mean? Because I thought that was...
But I played too.
Yeah. I think everyone starts with Warzone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's cracking?
Yo, Grimph. How we doing? What's cracking? Thank you for the follow. I hope I'm saying your name right. GRMMFF. How we doing? What's cracking? No, I think there's definitely, a little bit of finding yourself and finding your brand when you first start streaming, for sure. Yeah. Doing well. It's all great. Good to hear. So yeah. And then as far as, maybe you figured out your niche and you don't feel like collaborating with anybody. Once again, I'm a firm believer in you doing what you want to do, as long as it's within the terms of service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that there's overextending yourself too much too, though. Like, you don't want to
That's a good point.
You don't want to overdo it either. Because if you overdo it, then what are you gaining out of it in the long run? Besides spreading yourself too thin. So there is a fine line of not overdoing it and finding, there's a reason why the stream team has 6 scouts right now, because I couldn't keep being the only person doing it, because it networking is about creating relationships, not just adding to your friend list.
It's
I
hard.
guess
It
is a good way of
is. You have
thinking
to
about it.
100%. You nailed it. You know that you can't. Oh, you can't stretch yourself too thin. And I
Mhm.
think that's what a lot of content creators do. Mandy brought up a really good point. Let me read this real quick. She says, I have a really hard time with guilt when I can't spend a lot of time in other streams, and I hate being made a moderator when I haven't been asked. Always ask before you mod someone. I think I moderate streams I've only been in once, but yeah, there's for one, I want to say there's no reason to feel guilty for not being able to spend time. One thing I like to explain to content creators is your viewers owe you nothing, and
Mhm.
you owe your viewers nothing.
Mhm.
It's mutual. If they want to watch you, it's because they like your content.
Mhm.
And of course, appreciate them for that, you know, and appreciate the creator for that. But nobody owes anybody anything unless there's a transaction or an agreement or a promise made. You know what I mean? And what she said kind of went exactly with what you said, you know, feeling guilty and stretching yourself too thin. But that's a good point. I don't think I've ever modded anybody who hasn't asked. In fact, I went a long time with no mods. And
I've been modded by people that I haven't asked.
I thought there was a bug on me. I'm sorry. It was my cable. I just freaked out a little bit. It was my mouse cable. It like started touching my foot, and I'm like, oh shit.
Well,
We're all gonna die. Anyway, what did you say? What was that last thing you said before I thought I was being attacked by a bug?
it happened to me. People modding me before even really knowing them much at all.
Yeah.
It's definitely been something I've experienced. I'm a moderator for I don't know how many people, but I tend to, if I'm there, then I'm there and I'm present. There's only been a couple of people that I've moderated for that, like, I think of it, I wouldn't say as like a responsibility, but like something I wanted to be there to help them with because I believed in them, you know. I'm not saying that all the other ones I didn't believe in, but it was just more like,
Right.
I believe that moderators pick you,
True.
right?
Yeah.
You don't pick, I don't feel like you should pick a moderator because the moderators pick you.
Mm-hmm.
They're there, they're consistently showing up, they're constantly and that's not me in a lot of cases in a lot of people's streams. So when I say that, I just mean that like I find time to be in the other people's streams, whether or not it's because they allow me to get away with what I do. Because like one person I moderated for a really long time, he knew that what I was going to do was I was going to go to my networking and I was going to turn on 6 different streams. And so he would just scream my name when he needed me. Because he knew that if he screamed my name, I would hear him.
Right.
But otherwise I would be in my own little world.
Right.
And that is the reason why I would mod for someone like that, is they understand the workload that I'm doing and they're completely okay with that, and they're not expecting of anything specific. So that to me is really important, to find moderators that want to mod for you, not moderators that you want to mod for you. Right.
And I think so I have a Google form that I have on my Discord and my Guilded. It's a mod application. And I found that to me to just be the easiest way. Because I don't know, I have a hard time asking people to work for me for free. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, do you want to take time out of your day to help me moderate? And by the way, I'm not going to pay you. You know what I mean? So, that's a really harsh way of looking at it. I'm sure they do it because they appreciate you and appreciate your content, but it's just, I don't know. I feel guilty asking people to mod. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, well, I'll put a Google form out there and they can come to me. You know what I mean? So
I felt guilty until I had a community member called Yes Mods. His name's C Mods, C Mods, SI Mods, Yes Mods. And when I first met him, he modded for like 29 or 30 people.
Oh wow.
It was insane.
I don't even know how that's like a full-time job, man.
Like my brain broke when I met him, and
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. So now he's down to like 21. We're getting there.
Still.
But he like mini mods for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's still in my channel in mini mods. I gave him VIP. I told him you'd never get mod.
Yeah.
But like
you get mod when you have 10.
It's just funny because there is no criteria of what, but moderators aren't even, I don't know. I feel like moderators are the unsung heroes of Twitch because so many of them do so much, but they don't get recognized for it. So
mass amounts of respect for moderators, for sure. Mandy, keep it up. I know you moderate for a lot of people. Here's what I think. I think like if you're a huge streamer and you're making money, I think put the mods on a payroll. You know, treat it as a job. I don't know if that's even the thing. You know, Tim the Tatman or Doc, Ninja, the top streamers in the world, they should have their mods on a payroll. I think. I don't know.
I think so. Personally.
And he said there's only one guys that moderates almost every single ASMR streamer, and he's also one of my mods, but he does it a lot, and I know he does, and I don't know how he does it. All the ASMR streamers, that's crazy, and I'm sure there's a lot of trolls in the ASMR category.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand ASMR, but I'm not going to go in there and troll it. You know what I mean? Only people I like and support, so that's a compliment to you. Thank you, Mandy. Appreciate it. Anyway, I've been playing a game called Raft. We're gonna get off topic real quick.
Oh boy.
And you told me you were playing Raft. So
yeah, it's true.
How big is your raft?
So I would say, I mean, it's pretty big. Probably a solid like 30 wide.
30 wide. Okay.
30 by 30, I would say probably.
Oh, so you're rocking a square.
Yeah.
That's a smart idea, actually.
A big square.
Yeah. See, I went with length, so I'm doing like, I don't know, I want to say 15 by like 40, 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a steering wheel yet?
A steering wheel. I mean, like I built so like there's a cover over the anchor, and then the sail goes on top of another platform that's on top of another platform.
There is a steering wheel in the game.
I have not gotten to it then.
Are you following the story?
Cannot figure out the story.
Okay, so the first thing you need to do is make a radio tower. You need to make
we did that.
Oh, you did?
And then we got to the spot.
That's where we're at right now.
It took us to some like radio tower, and we couldn't figure out what to do there.
Okay.
Like it reminded me of Waterworld.
Right. No, yeah. It does, for sure.
Right. Doesn't it remind you of Waterworld? Thank you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely.
Sparky didn't believe me.
But like Waterworld on steroids.
So.
Who said that?
It's Sparky.
Oh, he doesn't think so?
Well, I mean, he's never seen Waterworld, so it's not like he actually can comment, really.
Oh. A youngster?
Yeah.
We got a Gen Zer?
Yeah, apparently.
No, I definitely think number one, watch Waterworld. Great movie. Number two, it's definitely a lot like Waterworld, just maybe on steroids a little bit.
It really is. I was like, are there going to be jet skis that fly out of it? And he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, have you not seen Waterworld?
Right.
And I got so disappointed.
Waterworld is fun.
So I actually saw Waterworld at Universal Studios.
Yes.
When they did the actual live show in the big water thing. Oh, that was even better than the. Yeah, it was good. Good. Total sidetrack again. There you go.
Waterworld is kind of like, what is that movie? It's like a water version of like Mad Max, almost, kind of. I don't even know. What's that?
I can see that.
Yeah. It's kind of got that like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's like steampunkish kind of feel, but it kind of does.
It does, yeah.
But yeah, watch Waterworld. No, Raft is a great game. been thinking about streaming it. I've been wanting to stream a little bit more games. But I've cut my stream days down to 2 days a week. So, and both on weekends. So, yeah, we'll see.
I mean, Raft is a good game though.
Yeah.
I mean,
have you streamed Raft?
No.
Would you?
Possibly.
Okay.
It's like so I'm going to admit, like, when I die, I don't lose anything. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I played the super easy way on this game because like it was a getaway, not like a place to go.
Right. No, it's chill. Yeah. No. I get that.
It's like a super chill game. So I just chose we went the easy route with it, you know? So
that's okay.
I think that if I would do anything, have you ever heard of Atlas?
I have heard of it. I don't think I've ever even seen it though.
Atlas is like, I think if I was going to go to anything on stream, I think I would go to something like that before Raft personally.
Okay. All right.
But that's just because I like have a thing with Atlas.
Gotcha. So you played Atlas. You love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the game.
Check that out. Atlas. All right. Mental note.
Yeah, it's a great game just because of the fact that like there's like 144 servers, so you can travel into each server, and each server is independent.
Mm-hmm.
So each server has different climates and different animals and seeds, and you have to literally travel the whole world to be able to actually acquire everything. So it's a lot more in depth than any game I've really ever experienced personally. Gotcha. It's really fun.
Sweet. I'll have to check it out. So, social media platforms. What are your top platforms you use to promote your content creation, I should say?
Twitter and Instagram are going to be my two like go-tos.
Okay.
I have Facebook, but like I feel like Facebook isn't necessarily my place.
Right.
And I plan on continuing doing TikToks, but like
TikTok is stressful, man. TikTok stresses me out.
I actually do really like when I do a TikTok, I can from start to finish do a TikTok in like 30 minutes.
I love making TikToks. Don't get me wrong. It's what shows up on my For You page stresses me out.
Oh yeah, I just don't pay attention, I guess. I don't like watching TikTok, so I think that's why I struggle getting into TikTok because with my inability to catch sarcasm and jokes sometimes are like not normal for me, like the type of things I laugh at versus what like normal society laughs at.
Okay.
Sometimes
that
are
makes
not
sense.
the
Yeah.
same. So like I'll watch TikTok and just be like, are there people actually enjoying this right now? I'm confused.
A lot of it can be cringy if that's kind of where you're going with that, but I get that. But no, for sure. But I do love making TikTok videos. There have been days where I make 4 to 6 pieces of content a day. You know what I mean? Lately, not so much, but yeah. I think
I want to do that much in one day.
Yeah. I want to focus a lot more on Twitter. Instagram is changing a little bit, which is unfortunate because I'm just getting back into being passionate about photography. And it's like, okay, so where am I going to post my photos? On Facebook? No, thanks. But is Instagram... Is Instagram still going to be a photography or photo platform, or is it just strictly going to be video? Because if Instagram changes,
everybody, right? Everybody is becoming, things aren't specialized anymore. Everyone has the same things. It's
right.
Going to be a weird.
There's innovators, you know what I mean? And then there's people who copy the innovators, which is fine, you know, but I don't know. Times change.
And the innovators most of the time are halfway more removed from the situation. So it's funny to me that there's so many people following the innovators when the innovators are usually kind of semi-removed from what it is we're experiencing. It kind of like reminds me of like when you're in a corporation and the people at the top of leadership are telling you what to do. It's the same concept of these big streamers telling us what to do now, because it's like they're at the top looking down saying, well, this is how I did it, so follow me. And it's like, well, but how you did it and how it's going to work for everyone else is going to be completely different, because your path was your own. And it reminds me so much of the corporate ladder, right? Like, we'll
Right.
just follow these things and you're going to get there. But it's like, it's just a new platform saying the same thing. It's the content creators that have made it telling the content creators that haven't quite gotten there or on the verge of something,
Right.
That same message that you hear in the corporate world, which is interesting.
Very interesting, because that's what the gaming industry is right now. It's all a bunch of corporate people in suits thinking they know what the industry wants, and they're making profit out of it. So like Activision, right? Activision ruined Blizzard, by the way. Blizzard was one of the most phenomenal game companies ever made.
I agree.
Came in there, ruined him. And if you disagree with me, please, I'll fight you on that, because Blizzard is not the same since Activision took over. And I think a lot of people agree with me on that.
I agree.
The
100%.
best video games that have been coming out lately, for me at least, have been smaller publishers. Phasmophobia was made by one guy, right? I've been playing a game called I forgot now. Been playing a survival game. It has one developer on it. It's a great game. And it's like, because it's made by gamers, you know what I mean? It's made by people who are passionate about it. There's still a lot of good people at Blizzard, right? There's still a lot of good developers. A lot of them have left, you know what I mean? Since oh Jesus, I can't remember his name. Chris Metzen. I think since Chris Metzen had left Blizzard, things started going downhill. You know what I mean? But yeah, the best games that have been coming out these days have definitely been smaller publishers.
I think that's true for like most of the industry right now. I prefer not necessarily I just don't necessarily like the mainstream.
I don't either.
Developers, I guess, anymore. Yeah. There's some things that I'll stick with, but like Bee Simulator, like things that are so off. They're fun because they're so different than what mainstream is doing, and most of the mainstream stuff is the same stuff that was when I was like 15, and that was like 21 years ago. Yeah. My goodness. So like,
it's hard to say stuff like that, isn't it, sometimes?
But like the games are the same, it's like Halo is the same Halo. The only difference is the graphics have gotten cooler looking. Like there's little things that are changing, but like dramatically, they're just refinishing it and putting a new story to it.
Right.
And not adding and not, there needs to be more innovation going on when it comes to like how to push the limits.
Definitely.
In my opinion, especially by the industry leaders.
Industry leaders is going to have a different term. You know what I mean? It's all going to be about the underdog, Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's really, Activision is out there to make a profit. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean? Everyone hates him for that. But hear me out. Hold on. Hear me out, guys. I know a lot of people are like, what the fuck is he talking about? But when you own a business, eventually, your goals are to make money, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So whatever. People got to make their money. And people are put in positions for companies to make money. That's fine. It's unfortunate for people like us, that Activision completely ruined Blizzard. You know what I mean? Blizzard was... I was addicted to World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that spark for me anymore.
I agree.
The game's lost its spark. Mm-hmm. Because it's like you said, it's just a bunch of corporate men wearing suits telling people what they think they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Telling us what we want. Yeah.
It is similar to a handcrafted chair versus mass production. Mass production just doesn't produce as much innovation and changes as one craftsman coming up with new idea for every chair.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah. But here's the thing. Okay, so there are a lot of people out there. I don't want to undervalue people out there that love Call of Duty or love World of Warcraft in its current state. That's fine. There's always a market
Wait,
for
hold
that.
on. Are there people that actually do love Warcraft in its current state? Because I haven't met any yet.
I thought I did, but I was holding on to something. I was holding on. I wanted so bad, and I finally just realized that, and I think that's where a lot of people are. They want to love the game. They don't want
Warcraft.
They don't want it to go away. And they're like, "Oh, classics coming out." And that's just a big
I've been there. I did it. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. We all love the nostalgia, but just wasn't the same the second time around. You know what I mean? I didn't have the same experience.
In the first time, it wasn't fun going through it. I didn't want to go through it again.
Yeah. But I did anyway. I got to level 60 and I got pre-raid bis, and then I was like, what am I doing? Am I going to start
before I gave up? I was just like, no, why am I doing this again?
Good for you.
Yeah.
If you have fun, you have fun. You know what I mean?
The blasted lands, I was done. I was just like, I don't want to do this. I hate this. I hate this zone. I don't, my character's still sitting in the blasted lands.
Rip.
I think I've lost a couple of characters to that zone, actually.
Yeah.
Where they're just still parked there endlessly for the rest of their life.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. For those of you, real quick, I do want to say, for those of you who have followed me that are over from Hawtness's channel, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for being here for today's podcast. Get a little rundown about myself. My name is Matt Kraken. I am a graphic designer, videographer, photographer. I'm in the middle of transitioning my content, I think. I haven't really talked about it much, but I was doing a lot of graphic design for streaming overlays and stuff like that. And I've always said I want this channel to be more about photography stuff because that's kind of what I'm passionate about. So I think I'm going to start doing more photography, photo editing, and stuff like that on this channel. I'm getting married on November 1st. So until then, my streaming days are a little bit limited to Saturday and Sunday with me getting back into work and wedding planning and stuff like that. But anyway, if you are over from Hawtness's channel, I appreciate the follow. Thank you for being here. I would love to see you in chat. Feel free to drop in anytime. But for now, I think we're going to wrap it up. At the end of every podcast, I like to do a Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, whether it's regarding networking or anything like that, video games or anything, we'll do a quick Q&A. And then, So you got any questions? Real quick, a quick burn said, Cataclysm screwed this up for me. I was so used to leveling a Horde a certain way. Then, bam, you can't go through Barons and Thousand Needles anymore. See, I'm not used to that. I played Alliance a lot.
I was never a Horde. I mean, I was to level 26. That's the highest I've ever gotten a Horde.
Rip.
It's the highest I could ever get.
Yeah.
Like I'd get to this main cities and I'd be like, this is just confusing. Like, who does Orgrimmar? How do you do Orgrimmar? I just don't
Orgrimmar
understand.
is the worst.
I don't get it. It's just so confusing.
Stormwind and Ironforge are the best. That's the only reason I play Alliance.
Yeah, that's the only the only reason, because of the cities.
Yeah.
And like the Undercity, how do you even figure anything out? Like, it's all level upon level upon level, and then like,
that's originally how Ironforge was going to be. Ironforge was going to be different levels within the circle. I'm glad they didn't do it that way. But
and then you get Thunder, isn't it Thunder Bluff or whatever?
Thunder Bluff is cool. I like Thunder Bluff.
Cool, but it's still like you have to figure out how to get to the place that you.
It is confusing. I like the concept of Thunder Bluff. Darnassus now, Darnassus was pretty terrible too.
But I started as an elf, so it was the first one I ever went to. So I kind of have a special it has a special love in my heart, probably because of that. But
Yeah.
I agree. It's as bad as a Horde City.
Right. I mean, they had to give us one, right? They're like, you guys got all the best cities. We'll give you one shit place and you can deal with it.
Yeah, but if you're Horde, they think their cities are the best. So, I mean, it's just...
I don't know. I've known some Horde players to be like, yeah, Orgrimmar's not good.
Horrible. Yeah.
But I don't know. If it's what you're used to, it's what you know. If you started on Horde, which I did. I started on Horde, actually. But I moved... I didn't max level at Horde. I got to like level 10 and I was like, well, I'll try out Alliance. Loved it. Loved it way more. You know?
I think Alliance is much better, but that's personal opinion.
Yeah.
And they just don't look as good in their outfits, you know?
Right. Dalaran. I forgot about Dalaran. That's another crap one. I don't know where they're thinking there.
Yeah.
Mandy says, what to you are the biggest no-nos?
In streaming?
In content creation, or because that could be a pretty big list. As far as streaming goes. Yeah, sorry, no worries. Go ahead.
Wow. Yeah. I would, honestly, I would say not rating right. Not using your hosts and your raids, and not like...
Don't kill people.
Yeah, that's probably a very accurate thing to not do too.
Especially on stream.
But I find that hosting, learning how to use your hosts well, and making sure that people understand what hosts mean, because hosts really do help the algorithm, as well as raids, and learning how to correlate all of that in with Twitter. I have been doing a horrible job of this in the past, but in my opinion, when you get done streaming, you should do a post-stream wrap-up of saying thank you and thanking the people that have rated you, and then mentioning the person that you rated, just so that if your community wasn't there, they know that you're throwing support to that person. So I think that missing that opportunity, whether it's the hosting, the rating, or making sure that you're tweeting about it, I think that that's the biggest missed opportunities that we don't take as content creators.
So I'm guilty of all of that.
Mm-hmm. I am too. I wasn't asked what I do. I was just asked what biggest no-nos were. So I just
That's interesting. I've never done a post-stream wrap-up on Twitter. I don't know if this is imposter syndrome or not. I don't know what you would call this, but I have this thing in my head that tells me, and I know it's the wrong way to think, and I know it's probably not the best way of thinking, but my whole thing is I don't know. I've kind of been conditioned to not put myself out there, but I have to get past that. I've always had this feeling of nobody gives a shit what I think, or you know what I mean, or whatever. Why would anyone care how my stream went? Why would anyone care that I rated this person? And it's a very not a good way of thinking for a couple reasons. Not a good way for growth. And it's just not a good way to think as an individual or as a person. You know what I mean?
Mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a good mindset. So it's interesting. I think I will start trying to do more of that. I do raid people as much as I can. You know what I mean? But I when you say host, you mean your auto host list? Does that help with the algorithm?
Yeah. So, and I tend to, so I have MooBot. MooBot is, I pay extra for MooBot to do the auto hosting. But I have it set up to where I can pick whoever I want. You can pick up to 100 and 150 people.
Okay.
And you can choose whoever you want and put them on a priority list. So I have that, but then I also when I go and hang out with people, I'll see who I'm already hosting. And if I'm not hosting anybody, I usually automatically host whoever I'm watching. And, I let them, I'll be this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. Typically, I only host if I'm hanging out in the channel. Like I'll hang out, and if I host, that means I'm hanging out typically.
Right.
If I'm talking and hosting at the same time. Most of the time, though, my bot will come in and just host, and then no one hears from me. So
Gotcha.
But that's how you know when I'm here, when I'm actually like hanging out is like I'll hang out and do some talk with people, and then I host. But I think that missing those opportunities of hosting and showing support, because it's just another way you're showing support to another person. And so they want to show support back to you. And so it turns into like a snowball of you creating a friendship that's based on support and loyalty. And I think that that's like super important. When it comes to like the post wrap up, where I see that being like super duper important, and a lot of people miss that because a lot of people don't see how Twitter's like really linked, but like any person, like say if I did a post stream wrap up with you and I about today, all of my people will see that you did something, and all of your people will see that I did something. So you're networking all of your people to my people and my people to your people. And so it's just creating an additional avenue. So if you have 4 people that raid you, and then you get and then you raid someone else, that's 5 different communities in your post wrap up that you could be touching on, that people could potentially be seeing you every single time that you do your. So you have a minimum of at least one other community that is seeing you, and you're seeing them. But if every time someone raids, you're adding that many more people onto your list. So it's just a good way of like showing your community, hey, these people are cool, and then those people also doing the same thing. It being like a 2-way street where you're helping each other out in the growth. Because at the end of the day, all ships rise, right? All waters rise together for a ship, you know? So the more that we're helping each other rise, the better it'll, turn out to be for everyone.
I think I will start, I'll start doing that more. I like that. That'd be good TikTok also as well, because I was actually unaware that, I think a lot of people have a lot of misconception about the Twitch algorithm. And
I think that's the only thing I talk about on my Twitter or my TikToks.
Oh, really?
Is streamer 101s, things that people don't know. Yeah.
It's always refreshing to see different content on Twitch Talk. Not trying to be harsh, but oh my God, there's a lot of regurgitated content, and that's okay. Yep. I always say that's okay, because you might be the first person that somebody sees that video, and that's why it's okay. But throw in some original stuff in there as well from time to time. Tian Mama says, how do you manage streaming with your real life? Well, it really depends on what your goals are, in my opinion, right? So this is something I've been struggling with lately, I keep mentioning it, with wedding planning and going back to work, and I'm working on 2 side projects right now that are kind of in the works. I can't really talk about a couple of them. So really, I'm creating content right now as really a secondary to my life. I'm creating content right now because I love it. It's something I want to continue to do, and it's something, and I want to get more into YouTube on top of Twitch and stuff like that. So it really just depends on your goals, right? So your goals in life have to mesh with your goals as a content creator. So right now I'm kind of using content creation as a secondary to my life. My wedding's very important. My job is important because it's my main money maker right now. I don't make enough money on Twitch to even think about becoming a full-time content creator. But it's something I love doing and I'm passionate about, and it's something that I'm actually pivoting right now. I'm pivoting a little bit of my content. So managing your life and managing your content creation, they have to mesh, and you have to really look at the bigger picture, and you have to look at what your main goals are going to be. Definitely take risk is something that I always say to do, so if you're getting to the point where you are gaining traction on Twitch and gaining traction on YouTube, start making more content. Push other things in your life aside a little bit more. Baby steps at a time. Pay attention to your growth. Pay attention to your analytics. See what's working. See what's not working. But yeah, I think that the biggest thing for me, at least in my opinion, is what are your goals? And that is how you can decipher how much time you want to mesh content creation into your real life per se.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any?
I think that like when it comes down to it, is like it's hard because like for me, I think of my real life is part of like everything that I do on a daily basis is my real life, right? And so
Yeah.
the streaming aspect of it is only when I turn on the camera for a couple of hours every day. But what I do for that moment of streaming for those couple of hours is like the rest of my days wrapped together. So I guess I struggle with separating the two.
Okay. Yeah. No.
In my brain, because I think of everything as like part of what I do, and so I might struggle with like actually separating those.
No, that's a very good point. And I think I was, I won't lie, I was doing the same thing during COVID when I had no job and I was collecting unemployment. I put a lot more time into content creation, and I'm glad I did. You know what I mean? It was able to help me build, an audience and a community. But then, like I said, what are your goals? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I want to be a content creator for myself. Okay. So that's why I am going to create the content that I want to create. But if your goals are different, and if you want to be a full-time content creator, a full-time Twitch streamer, and you want to play games and you want to be the next Ninja, shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I hear a lot of people say, you're never going to be the next Ninja, blah, blah, blah. Why would you even start streaming? Fuck that. Don't listen to that bullshit. If you have goals, set goals. Be realistic. I think what these people are trying to say is be realistic. Yeah. But listen, if you think you have the potential to do it, then by all means, shoot your shot.
Yeah. I mean, if a year ago, that would be over a year ago, if someone told the code Miko or Una 2 years ago that she wouldn't be where she was right now, then like we would have missed out on a phenomenal situation with the code Miko and what she's bringing to content creation. I think that if anybody holds back who they are, we're going to continue to stifle the opportunities we have as a group of content creators striving for us to, push forward into the next, what that looks like next. And we can either push forward or we can hold back what opportunities we have, because ultimately the next generation of kids don't understand anything but everyday data and constant they want to consume more data than we've ever had out there. And so, like I was saying earlier, my daughter can't watch Netflix because there's only 20 episodes in a series or, in a season, and it's not enough content because she only gets a new season once every 6 months or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are wanting content daily, hourly. They want to continue to ingest data, and that's not going to be something they stop doing in 10 or 20 years. That's going to be the mentality that continues to be created. And so we as content creators can either get to be ahead of the curve, or we can choose to continue to hold ourselves back as creators.
Mm-hmm. I think you nailed it. I think, back in the day, you're right. The kids these days, or the younger generation, I don't want to say kids these days, but the younger generation has it very differently. They get gratification a lot quicker than we did.
I mean, okay, let's just put it this way. This is what children use now. This is how they find satisfaction. This is words that an 8-year-old uses because they have to have satisfaction, instant satisfaction.
Right.
I'm just throwing this, like, and she'll play with this the entire day that she's doing stuff because she has to have, and she will use the words, "I feel so satisfied right now." An 8-year-old.
I didn't even know what that word.
Her whole class.
Yeah.
Her whole class talks about satisfaction. Like,
wow.
we have to get in the gist of the fact that they're teaching our children to be the most emotionally intelligent children that we could have, and they're not going to be okay with slow data. They want content, and they want it now.
Yeah. Veruca Salt. Everyone's the Veruca. I want it, and I want it now.
100%.
We used to wait, until our parents got home to take us to Blockbuster. And then we could only rent 2 movies, maybe a video game.
I mean, look at like in World War II, right? How long did it take for people to have communication? And now people that are stationed can play video games.
Yeah.
Like it's a totally, they can Skype. They, it's still, even though you're on the other side of the world, you're at least able to communicate and see each other. What we went through in this past couple of years is nothing compared to what the people in the 1917, 1918 went through, because they didn't have any form of communication. We could at least grab our phone and have a FaceTime conversation with our family.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to remember that it's going to constantly be shifting faster and faster. It's common for this progression.
And that's
so
why
how do we continue to progress that as content creators, I guess, is how I think of it consistently.
The important thing is to not, so here's what I've been struggling with lately. Remembering that not to get overwhelmed, because there was this point in time there where I was getting overwhelmed. And it's important to continue to create content for yourself as well. I think it's easy to forget about why you started creating content. You know what I mean? There's like this satisfaction to streaming when you first start streaming that, when people hit the go live button for like their first month or two, they're jacked, they're pumped. And I remember that feeling for sure. But it's important to remember to stay satisfied for yourself. You know what I mean? Little Penguin, how we doing? Little Penguin says, I feel like the question should be, how do we combat burnout as a content creator and keep a piece that is also viable to consumers? Exactly. That is what the question should be. That's kind of just exactly what we were talking about. And I think the important thing, like I just said there, is keeping yourself happy and creating the content that you want to create, rather than creating content that you think people want to see. Because there is enough niches and there's enough demographics out there that if you are passionate about painting rocks, then paint rocks. People will come and watch that, because there are other people out there that are passionate about painting rocks.
Just make sure that you're tagging yourself and finding people of like-minded.
Right.
To
Networking in the correct community. And that is something that, you have to kind of teach yourself how to network. You could get all the tips and tricks you want, but you never really truly know how to network until you actually try it or do it. But yeah, I mean, be passionate. You'll get burnt out on doing, and Gary Vee says this a lot. You're, somebody will say, "Oh, my employees are bored, or my students are bored." I used to think I was bored all the time. Gary Vee says you're not bored, you're disinterested. You know what I mean? And that's so true.
Yep.
If I'm not interested in something, I think my favorite thing to do recently are these podcasts. I look forward to these every week. Because it allows me to, I like communicating with other people. I've always loved streaming, but I've always wanted, I've always felt kind of, I don't want to say weird, but I want to bring people in and have a conversation with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like me in video gaming. I feel weird when I'm gaming instead of hanging out with the chat. And that's everyone has their own personal feelings towards, streaming. Just like we all have a personal opinion towards everything.
Right.
We all have our comfort zones, right?
Definitely. Sounds like hosting could be part of that, connecting them with other folks to keep pace. Definitely. Yeah, I've learned. Yeah, you taught me a lot today about Twitch algorithm that I didn't know.
So to jump on that before I finish, like things that I think I want to add on to things that I think that you shouldn't not do. I think that when you get rated, you should automatically follow the person back. Like that's just something I feel like is an automatic thing that you do, right?
Yo, Jason Hef, thank you so much for the tier 1. I appreciate you.
And then I'm
guilty of that too.
Also making sure that when you like their Twitter or their Twitch, that you go and you follow all the other socials.
Right.
Not just doing one step of it, right? There are so many times that those are so many missed opportunities if you don't take that take that time to foster the relationship that just potentially could have happened.
Right.
So to me, those are, him bringing up the hosting, being a part of it, it's really important because like if I get someone who hosts me a lot and I notice it, like I put them on my host list. And then I make sure to go to their channel. Like I have someone who hosts me every day and I've never seen them in my channel, but they host me every single day. So they show me their support, but I think that it's probably it's before they wake up or whatever. And so it's nice to be able to take those moments and, go and thank them personally because, hey, they never show up in the channel, but they're there to support. So I think it's important to not miss all of those small little opportunities when they can be kind of a game changer, in my opinion.
Supporting is a form of networking and collaborating as well, But yeah, I definitely, I'm guilty of not following everyone that raids me, and it's not on purpose for sure.
Yeah, I had to get to the point where I just stop literally on stream and I automatically just do it right then and there. Because if I
that's
don't do
not
it
a
right
bad
then
idea
and there,
at all.
Yeah, if I don't do it right then and there, I will 100% forget.
Yeah.
Just what it is. And
Note
so I've learned to do what forces me to do it so I don't have the opportunity to fail.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think that was a successful show. I think we'll wrap it up there.